We each navigate life as both observers and participants in a complex ballet of social exchanges where so much remains concealed behind the veils of our facial expressions and physical gestures. Yet, each day presents a new scene where truths and secrets are subtly disclosed to those adept at observing. This pursuit isn't just about uncovering lies. It's about grasping the intricate language of silent words and the subdued orchestra of concealed feelings. Mastering this skill of reading between the lines isn't merely insightful. It paves the way to deeper relationships and a richer grasp of human nature. Today, let's unravel this mute language together. Drawing on ancient Stoic wisdom, we'll learn to see beyond the facades people wear to the genuine selves they hide. This voyage will transform not only how you perceive others, but also your understanding of yourself. Join me as we delve into the secrets of truly seeing beneath the surface, where genuine dialogues commence. If you value our content, one simple free action I ask of you is to subscribe and accompany us throughout this entire journey today. Don't miss any part of the video, as each segment is filled with insights that could shift your perception of the world around you. Let's begin. This method leverages fundamental human needs to be heard and understood. By using the phrase, "tell me more," you give the other person the room to express themselves freely, without the fear of judgment or interruption. This simple gesture can profoundly alter their perception of the conversation and, more importantly, how they engage with you. They are likely to reveal not just superficial details, but delve into personal experiences, beliefs, and even vulnerabilities. I've discovered that "tell me more" is not just about collecting information. It's about forging trust and rapport in conversations that may be emotionally charged or touch on personal topics. These words can act as a soothing balm, subtly signaling to the other person that you are there to listen, not to judge. It's astounding how the dynamic changes when someone feels genuinely heard. They are more inclined to open up, offering insights into their motivations and possibly exposing vulnerabilities they usually guard. In both business and personal negotiations, this technique can be especially powerful. By continually prompting the other person to elaborate, you may uncover not only the factual basis of their stance, but also the emotional and psychological underpinnings of their arguments. By practicing this technique, you're not manipulating the dialogue, but rather opening a door to authentic conversation. It's an exercise in setting aside your own ego and genuinely engaging with the essence of another person. This is the art of conversation, seeing and hearing people as they truly are, not as we wish them to be. Through this understanding, we foster connections that are both deeper and more meaningful. This approach is rooted in the principle that a person's true character is revealed not when they know they're being evaluated, but when they believe their actions carry no weight. For instance, consider a colleague who is all smiles in the boardroom but becomes cold or authoritarian the moment they step outside. Such shifts in behavior can provide insights into their real character, which might be concealed by a professional or charming facade under normal circumstances. What makes this observation potent is not just what it tells us about how they treat others, but also what it indirectly reveals about their own view of themselves, their security, and their values. People who are comfortable in their own skin and genuinely respect others tend to be consistent in their interactions, regardless of social or economic status differences. They recognize that every person plays an essential role in the fabric of daily life and deserves respect and courtesy. Conversely, someone whose treatment of others fluctuates based on perceived social rank might be grappling with personal insecurities or a need to assert dominance wherever possible. This behavior is often a defense mechanism, projecting a facade of strength to mask deeper feelings of inadequacy or vulnerability. By adopting a stance of non-judgmental observation, you begin to assemble a more comprehensive picture of someone's character. This isn't about passing judgment or forming biases, but about collecting insights that could inform how you interact with them. It could influence decisions in areas such as trust, collaboration, and deeper personal or professional relationships. Consider this: someone who seems overly cautious or guarded in relationships might not just be naturally shy. Perhaps they've experienced betrayals or disappointments that taught them to build walls first and ask questions later. Or think about someone who bristles at criticism, however constructive it might be. This could stem from an upbringing where criticism was delivered harshly, shaping a defensive posture they carry into adulthood. The trick here isn't to use someone's past as a label, but as a lens. It's about gaining a richer, more empathetic understanding of their actions and reactions. This understanding doesn't excuse negative behavior, but illuminates its origins, which can be crucial in fostering better communication and smoother interactions. For instance, knowing that a colleague's combative streak might be a defensive mechanism can help you approach conflicts with them more constructively, aiming for dialogue that reassures rather than triggers. Moreover, recognizing the impact of past experiences isn't just about predicting behavior, it's about compassion. When we see the threads of someone's past woven into their present, we can relate to them with greater kindness and less judgment. We can approach our interactions with an awareness that we are often dealing not just with the person in front of us, but also with the echoes of their experiences. One of the most telling aspects of communication isn't just in what people say, but how they say it. Changes in tone, especially sudden and unexpected ones, can be like windows briefly opened into someone's internal world. These tonal shifts can reveal uncertainty, disguise, or emotional conflict that the words themselves might strive to hide. Imagine you're discussing a project with a colleague who's usually upbeat and assertive. Mid-conversation, their voice drops in pitch, slows down, or they start to stutter slightly. This isn't just a random variation, it's potentially revealing that they might not be as confident or forthcoming about the project's status as their words suggest. These changes are often involuntary, a result of our brain's complex wiring. When someone lies or feels uneasy about what they're saying, their cognitive load increases. This mental strain can manifest in their tone, pace, or even in the smoothness of their delivery. The voice might crack, soften, or harden, subtle cues that something is not quite right. But why is this important? Because being able to pick up on these signals enhances your understanding of the conversation's context. It's not just about catching someone in a lie. It's about understanding the levels of comfort, confidence, and sincerity behind what's being said. If you're aware of these shifts, you can navigate conversations more adeptly, asking the right questions, or providing reassurance when needed to unearth more authentic and complete information. When we think about truly getting to know someone, it's often those unguarded moments when they believe no one is watching that tell us the most about who they really are. It's in these snippets of time, away from the watchful eyes of peers or authority, that people reveal their true selves, whether they're folding laundry, interacting with a pet, or simply choosing a snack at the grocery store. Consider how someone might conduct themselves at a crowded party versus how they behave when tidying up after guests have left. In public, a person might be all smiles, engaging and courteous, playing the gracious host. However, the real insight comes when the party's over. How do they treat the staff helping to clean up? Are they respectful and appreciative, or do they become dismissive once they no longer need to make a public impression? These small, seemingly insignificant actions can speak volumes about a person's respect for others and their sense of responsibility. Observing someone in these unwatched moments can also provide a clearer picture of their values and priorities. For instance, someone who picks up litter in a park when they think no one's looking likely has a strong sense of community and environmental responsibility. Or watching someone interact with animals or children when they're unaware of an audience can reveal a level of kindness and patience that might not be as observable in more formal settings. This approach isn't about spying or making snap judgments. It's about recognizing the importance of the everyday, less polished interactions that contribute to a holistic understanding of a person. By appreciating these moments, we can form more accurate assessments and build relationships based on genuine understanding rather than curated personas. Understanding the emotions behind someone's reactions can be like reading the fine print in a contract. It tells you about the commitments they hold deep inside. Emotions are the raw responses that cut through the facade we often present to the world, offering a glimpse into what truly drives us. Let's say you're in a meeting and a proposal is introduced that impacts the workflow. One colleague might simply nod and agree, while another might react strongly, either with enthusiasm or frustration. These reactions can tell you a lot about how each person values change, innovation, or security. The one who lights up at the idea of new processes may value creativity and growth, while the one who reacts negatively might prioritize consistency and predictability. It's not just about identifying these emotional triggers, but understanding the why behind them. For instance, if a friend consistently shows significant distress over minor schedule changes, it could be a sign that stability and routine are exceptionally important to them, possibly due to past instability in their life. Recognizing this, you can approach future interactions with a sensitivity to their need for predictability, which not only shows empathy but also can help avoid unnecessary friction. Moreover, observing emotional reactions isn't limited to negative emotions. Joy, excitement, and satisfaction are just as telling. Take note of what makes someone genuinely happy or excited, whether it's tackling a challenging project at work or planning a weekend hike. These positive emotions reveal their passions and pleasures, helping you understand what feeds their soul. This is a form of silent dialogue where every gesture, every posture, and every subtle movement carries meaning. Understanding this language can provide profound insights into someone's emotional state and intentions beyond what they choose to verbally express. Crossed arms are often interpreted as a defensive posture, a physical barrier that someone puts up either because they feel threatened or are not open to what's being discussed. But context matters. A cold room or a casual stance might also lead someone to cross their arms. So, it's important to read this cue in conjunction with the overall situation and other body language signals. Mirroring is another intriguing aspect of body language, where one person subconsciously imitates the gestures, speech pattern, or attitude of another. This often happens when people feel a strong rapport or a connection. Observing this can indicate a good level of comfort and alignment between individuals in a conversation. This is more than just a sign of attention. It's a bridge of connection, a silent communicator of emotions and intentions. When someone looks you in the eyes during a conversation, it's generally a sign that they are engaged, trustworthy, and open to the interaction. Consider the nuances of eye contact in different situations. For instance, in a friendly chat, appropriate eye contact helps establish a rapport, making the interaction feel more personal and sincere. In a professional setting, it can convey confidence and assertiveness, signaling that a person is fully present and committed to the discussion at hand. However, when someone consistently avoids making eye contact, it might indicate they are not entirely comfortable with the situation, or perhaps are withholding their true thoughts. But eye contact can also be complex and influenced by cultural norms. In some cultures, direct eye contact is considered rude or confrontational, while in others, it's a sign of respect and attentiveness. Therefore, understanding the cultural context is crucial when interpreting this form of nonverbal communication. The art of listening extends far beyond simply hearing words. It's an active, engaging process that involves understanding, interpreting, and responding thoughtfully. Good listeners demonstrate a respect for the speaker that can forge stronger, more authentic connections. They don't just listen to respond, they listen to understand, which is a subtle yet profound difference. Think about a conversation where you felt genuinely heard. The listener likely gave you their full attention, nodding appropriately, asking clarifying questions, and responding in ways that showed they grasped not just the words but the sentiments behind them. This kind of interaction isn't just satisfying, it builds trust and respect, paving the way for deeper relationships. Conversely, poor listening skills can be quite telling as well. If someone frequently interrupts, it might suggest they value their own thoughts over others, or they might simply be eager and enthusiastic, albeit a bit tactless. If they often seem distracted or fail to recall details from previous conversations, it could indicate a lack of genuine interest or a preoccupied mind. Observing these habits provides insights into how much someone values the interaction and can guide you on how much to share with them in future engagements. When someone consistently sidesteps certain questions or changes the topic abruptly, it's not just a pause in the dialogue. It's a window into what they might be consciously or unconsciously hiding. This avoidance can be subtle, like giving vague answers or deftly turning the question back on the questioner, or it can be more overt, like expressing discomfort or quickly changing the subject. Imagine you're discussing past projects with a colleague, and you notice that every time you inquire about a specific event, they gloss over the details or pivot to another subject. This pattern might suggest that the project didn't go well, or there are aspects of it they're not proud of. The avoidance tells you that there's something in that experience they haven't reconciled or perhaps wish to forget. However, it's important to approach the interpretation of question avoidance with sensitivity. People might avoid questions for a variety of reasons that aren't deceptive. For example, they might find the topic personally painful, or they might be protecting someone else's privacy. Their reluctance could also stem from cultural norms that teach avoidance of conflict or direct confrontation. On the other hand, if you're in a scenario where trust and transparency are crucial, like in a negotiation or a personal relationship, recognizing when someone dodges questions can be vital. It alerts you to probe gently but firmly, or to reassess the level of openness and trust in that relationship. This situation occurs when someone provides more explanation or details than the situation warrants, seemingly trying to persuade or assure themselves as much as their audience. It's like watching someone build a fortress around a statement, fortifying it with layers of details, often before any real challenge to their claim arises. This can be a telltale sign that they might not be as confident in their position as they appear to be. The psychology behind overjustification is tied to the need for self-assurance and the desire to avoid confrontation or doubt. When people feel insecure about their stance or anticipate skepticism, they might preemptively load their responses with excess information to reinforce their position or to ward off potential questioning. However, it's crucial to approach situations of overjustification with empathy and openness. Not everyone who overjustifies is being deceptive. Some individuals naturally tend to give more details due to their communication style, or they might have experienced environments where thorough explanations were always required or expected in conversations. Noticing when and how someone uses overjustification can guide how you interact with them. It might be an opportunity to reassure them that they don't need to prove themselves excessively, helping to build their confidence. Or it might be a cue for you to probe more deeply using gentle questions to uncover the full story. It's a protective mechanism, shielding not just against potential criticism, but also against vulnerabilities being exposed. When you encounter someone responding defensively to what seems like benign comments or questions, it can be a revealing moment, hinting at deeper issues or sensitivities. Defensive behavior can also surface in less confrontational ways, such as someone laughing off a serious question or deflecting it with a joke. While this might seem harmless, it can be a subtle form of defense, protecting the individual from having to engage with a topic that makes them uncomfortable or vulnerable. In personal relationships, defensive behavior can be particularly telling. For instance, if a partner consistently gets defensive when certain topics are approached, it might indicate unresolved issues or hidden fears about those subjects. Recognizing this pattern can guide you to approach sensitive matters with more care, potentially opening a dialogue that allows them to address these hidden concerns in a safe environment. However, interpreting defensive behavior requires sensitivity and context. It's important not to jump to conclusions about someone's character based solely on defensive reactions. Instead, use these observations as a starting point for deeper understanding. By noticing when and why people get defensive, you can better navigate conversations and relationships. You can tailor your approach to minimize perceived threats, fostering a more open and trusting communication environment. When someone shares a piece of their life story, whether it's a triumph, a tragedy, or just a quirky anecdote, they're not just passing information, they're offering a piece of themselves, testing the waters of trust and connection. Consider a moment when a colleague shares a story from their childhood during a coffee break. This act does more than fill the silence. It serves as a bridge, reducing the distance between mere acquaintance and genuine familiarity. Through this story, they may be seeking to strengthen bonds or find common ground. It's a subtle yet profound indicator of their willingness to deepen the relationship. Personal stories often carry emotional weight and can reveal the storyteller's values, priorities, and experiences. For instance, someone recounting moments of overcoming obstacles might be showcasing resilience and determination, indirectly communicating their approach to challenges. Alternatively, a story filled with humor and light-hearted moments could be an attempt to bring warmth and joy into the interaction, enhancing social bonding. However, the context in which these stories are shared is crucial. When stories are shared too soon or feel out of place, they might be serving another purpose, such as manipulating emotions or diverting attention from other topics. It's important to listen not just to the content of the stories, but also to observe the timing and setting in which they are shared. This can help discern whether the sharing is a genuine attempt at connection or perhaps a more calculated move designed to achieve a specific reaction on the receiving end. How one responds to these stories can significantly affect the trajectory of the relationship. Showing genuine interest, asking thoughtful questions, and reciprocating with personal stories when appropriate can reinforce trust and mutual respect, encouraging a richer, more reciprocal dialogue. When someone shares their experiences, whether about past events, achievements, or personal life details, how those stories hold up over time can tell you a lot about their character and truthfulness. Consistent stories tend to reinforce the trust you place in someone, while discrepancies might prompt you to question their reliability or sincerity. Imagine a friend tells you about a critical event in their life, detailing how it unfolded and how they felt. The next time they recount the same story with significant differences in key details or emotional responses, it might give you pause. Are these changes a normal evolution of their perspective, or do they suggest something was embellished or omitted in previous tellings? This doesn't mean that any change in a story is a red flag. Memories can shift, and people often remember things differently over time or as their understanding of an event deepens. However, if the core facts of a story fluctuate frequently, it might indicate that the person is tailoring the story to suit the audience or moment, or possibly masking the truth. In professional settings, consistency in recounting project details or business dealings plays a critical role in establishing a person's reliability. In personal relationships, it helps in building and maintaining trust. Paying attention to consistency isn't about catching someone in a lie, but rather about understanding how reliable their narrative is, which can influence how much you trust and depend on them. To engage effectively when you notice inconsistencies, it can be helpful to approach the topic with curiosity rather than accusation. Asking clarifying questions like, "Last time you mentioned this, I remember you said X. Could you tell me more about that?" not only provides them with an opportunity to explain, but also subtly lets them know that you pay attention and value consistency and truth. When someone acknowledges and respects your boundaries, it communicates that they value your comfort, autonomy, and individuality. This respect can manifest in various ways, from asking permission before entering personal space to accepting a no without pushing further. Boundary respect also extends to more subtle interactions. For example, noticing when someone isn't comfortable with a particular topic and changing the subject without being explicitly asked to do so can be a sign of high emotional intelligence and respect. Similarly, in friendships and romantic relationships, paying attention to and respecting boundaries about time and emotional needs is crucial for maintaining a balanced and healthy connection. However, respecting boundaries goes beyond just avoiding discomfort. It's about creating a safe and trusting environment where all parties feel understood and valued. This respect fosters open communication, where individuals feel free to express their needs and expectations without fear of overstepping or retaliation. If you find that someone regularly disregards your boundaries, it might be necessary to reevaluate the dynamics of that relationship. Communicating your boundaries clearly and observing how they are respected can guide you in deciding how much to trust and invest in a relationship. Conversely, being mindful of respecting others' boundaries can enhance your relationships, making you a more considerate and trusted friend, colleague, or partner. How someone reacts to criticism often serves as a mirror reflecting their self-concept and resilience. It's not just about whether they can handle negative feedback, but how they use it to foster personal or professional growth. Observing someone's response when faced with criticism can give you profound insights into their personality and their capacity for adaptability and improvement. Consider a scenario in a workplace where a manager offers constructive feedback to an employee. If the employee listens attentively, asks clarifying questions, and discusses ways to improve, it shows robust maturity and a commitment to personal development. This kind of response not only strengthens their professional capabilities, but also builds trust and respect in their relationships. Conversely, if an individual reacts to the same criticism with denial, excuses, or even aggression, it might indicate a fragile ego or a lack of openness to growth. Such defensive behavior can demonstrate a person's ability to navigate complex emotional landscapes and help others feel more comfortable expressing themselves. On the other hand, humor can also serve as a diversion, used to dodge uncomfortable topics or mask insecurities. For instance, if every time a serious topic comes up, a person cracks a joke or shifts the conversation to a lighter subject, it might suggest they are uncomfortable with vulnerability or deep emotional exchanges. While this might help maintain a superficial harmony, it can also hinder genuine connection and problem-solving in relationships. Moreover, the type of humor someone employs can be telling. Sarcasm, while often humorous, can sometimes veer into the territory of passive aggression, subtly revealing discontent or criticism without direct confrontation. In contrast, self-deprecating humor can be a sign of humility and self-awareness, but when overused, might also hint at underlying self-esteem issues. In your interactions, paying attention to how humor is used can guide how you engage with others. If you notice someone frequently uses humor to deflect, it might be worth gently steering the conversation back to more substantive issues once the laughter subsides. Conversely, if someone handles humor with grace and appropriateness, reciprocating in kind can enhance your rapport and deepen the bond. No, an apology is much more than just words. It's a testament to a person's character and their commitment to righting a wrong. The sincerity of an apology can deeply influence the dynamics of any relationship, shaping trust and respect. When someone delivers an apology, the depth of their sincerity can often be discerned not just in what they say, but how they say it and what actions follow. Consider the elements of a truly sincere apology. It starts with a clear acknowledgement of the mistake or harm caused, devoid of excuses or justifications. The individual takes full responsibility without deflecting blame onto circumstances or other people. They express genuine remorse, not just for the consequences of their actions, but for the breach of trust that may have resulted. Beyond words, sincerity is also demonstrated through actions. How a person makes amends or changes their behavior to avoid repeating the offense. A sincere apology often includes a discussion about steps the individual will take to rectify the situation, or changes they will implement to ensure it doesn't happen again. However, apologies that lack sincerity often have certain telltale signs. They might include conditional language like, "I'm sorry if you felt hurt," which subtly shifts the responsibility onto the feelings of the offended party rather than the actions of the apologizer. Or they might rush past the apology, eager to move on, without truly addressing the underlying issues, indicating a lack of genuine commitment to resolving the harm done. In your interactions, observing how someone apologizes can give you valuable insights into their honesty and maturity. Do they apologize only when cornered? Or do they come forward voluntarily? Is their focus on clearing their name or on healing the relationship? These nuances can tell you a lot about their priorities and their capacity for empathy. Moreover, witnessing a sincere apology can be a pivotal moment in a relationship, often leading to a deeper understanding and strengthening of bonds. It can transform conflict into a catalyst for growth and increased mutual respect. Conversely, an insincere apology might erode trust, leaving issues unresolved and simmering beneath the surface. Promises hold a special place in human interactions. They are the verbal contracts we make with each other, setting expectations that can strengthen or weaken bonds based on their fulfillment. When someone makes a promise, they're not just saying they'll do something, they're offering assurance that you can rely on them. Observing whether they follow through on these commitments can tell you a great deal about their character and their value of relationships. Consider the weight of a promise in both personal and professional contexts. In personal relationships, whether it's a promise to support a friend through a challenging time or to attend an important family event, follow-through is a direct reflection of how much that person values the relationship and respects the trust you've placed in them. In professional settings, keeping promises, whether it involves meeting deadlines or upholding agreements, is crucial for maintaining trust, credibility, and respect among colleagues and clients. When promises are kept, it builds a foundation of trust that can make relationships more resilient and interactions more straightforward. You know you are dealing with someone who values their word and respects others enough to honor commitments, making interactions smoother and more predictable. This reliability can enhance teamwork, deepen friendships, and even bolster leadership. However, when promises are frequently broken, it can erode trust and complicate relationships. If someone consistently fails to follow through, it raises questions about their reliability and respect for others' time and efforts. It can lead to uncertainty and hesitancy in future interactions, as you might begin to doubt whether their commitments mean anything at all. It's also worth considering the reasons behind a failure to follow through. Is it a matter of overcommitting and not managing time well, or is it indicative of a deeper disregard for others' expectations and needs? Understanding these nuances can guide how you manage your expectations and interactions with them moving forward. This trait can shape everything from personal relationships to professional development. When someone is open to trying new things, whether it's exploring unfamiliar cuisines, engaging with different cultures, or adopting new technologies, it shows a willingness to grow and adapt, qualities that are invaluable in our ever-changing world. Consider how someone reacts when presented with an opportunity to step into unfamiliar territory. Do they approach the situation with enthusiasm and curiosity, or do they hesitate and seek comfort in the familiar? This reaction can reveal a lot about their approach to life's uncertainties. Those who embrace new opportunities often find themselves in a continuous state of learning and self-improvement, which not only enriches their lives, but also makes them more dynamic and interesting companions and colleagues. However, it's important to recognize that being open to new experiences doesn't mean recklessly jumping into every opportunity. It's about maintaining a balance between seeking new horizons and preserving a sense of stability and security. The key is flexibility, the ability to gauge when to embrace the new and when to hold on to the familiar. Encouraging openness in others can also be a rewarding endeavor. By fostering an environment that values curiosity and exploration, you can help others feel safe to step out of their comfort zones. This can lead to shared learning experiences and a deeper mutual understanding, enriching your interactions with others. Thank you for joining us today at Everyday Stoic Lessons. Remember, the journey to understanding others begins with a single step toward understanding ourselves. If you enjoyed our exploration into the nuances of human behavior, don't miss our next video on the screen now, where we dive deeper into the art of meaningful conversations. Your presence and engagement in this community enrich our collective journey toward wisdom. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and continue your path of Stoic discovery.